Hello, my loves. Hello, how are you? Peace be to you. I am so glad that you're here. It's a short amount of time that I'm recording and sending y'all a video, So I promised that I was going to continue with the part 2 of having the courage to walk your program. And we were talking about spiritual blocks. So we're going to be moving forward. I said I was going to talk about spiritual blocks in regards to the 7 deadly sins. So I'm going to actually break that up because I'm not going to make my video super long. Forgive the sound outside and forget my fan. I love y'all, but it's too hot, so I'm not turning my fan off. And I speak louder than my fan, so it's all good. Couple of housekeeping items. As you know, those that watch me, you know my housekeeping items are. So, I am Divine Celiane. I'm an ordained minister. I teach self-love, and I call myself a minister of love. I teach people what love really is, what it really means, because at the time people are walking around out there and they think, it's the 5 forms. It's way bigger than that. Love is all. And there's many aspects to love: good, bad, ugly, great, up to compassion, all the way down to the gritty stuff that no one even wants to touch, but there's still lessons in love. Okay, so that's 1. 2, if you are in a space where you feel that you need professional help, you get triggered by some of the things I talk about, you're kind of in your head and you feel you need a direction, please, I cannot stress this enough. You hear me say this all the time in my videos. Go seek a professional. That is what they're there for. There are ones that are like mental health, spiritual ones, mental health, religious ones, and then your regular psychologists, therapists, stuff like that, counselors. Okay, please seek one. My information is for educational and entertainment purposes. Really educational though, for your own self-growth and your own self-movement. And with that, y'all, let's get started. Okay, so the spiritual block number 2, because we talked about personal hell and we've been through that, and we talked about guilt. Okay, so now this is number 2. This is talking about pride and ego. Now I have videos on pride and ego, so I'm not going to sit in this space a little bit, for very much, but let's talk about it a little bit. So, I'm coming from the aspect, and I want you to understand, I am not coming, those that know me know, I do not come at this from a religious aspect, okay? In my opinion, religion has killed too many people and has ruined too many spirits. Reaching for things that we don't know and we don't understand when we need to be reaching in here, because that's where it's found. So that's the aspect that I teach it from. Also, I guide in certain things so that it gives you an understanding on a human level where you can see why you shouldn't do certain things. I am never going to sit up here and tell you, okay, you can't sin. I don't do a religious aspect. No, because sin only means ignorance. I'm telling you so you have a general understanding, a layman's understanding of why. Okay? All right. So, ego. Now, ego, and I have my notes, of course. So, ego stops you from seeing love. When someone is an ego, everything is an attack on them. It goes against their pride. Now, pride is one thing, and let me break this down. Okay, so when you have pride in yourself, how you look, how you carry yourself, I'm not talking about that kind of pride. I am not talking about value pride. Not talking about that. I'm talking about the pride of you can't ask for help because it looks like weakness to you. I'm talking about the pride of I'm going to continue to suffer and sit in my sacrificial lamb space because I'm a selfish martyr, and that's what I do. I sacrifice myself whether or not someone wants me to or needs me to, but I'm going to impose my help on someone else, even if it is a detriment to me. That's not healthy. Okay. I'm talking about the pride of For example, families, when kids go to school and their grades are not on the up and up, and you're a disgrace to your parents because they can't brag about you. That type of pride. All of that goes in the aspect of ego. Okay? And when you're in ego and you're in that type of pride, you are blind. You are blind. Now, it's funny because they'll say love is blind. Love is blind in many different aspects, because we don't know what we don't know, right? We don't know the lesson that it's trying to teach us. We don't know what's going on, and sometimes we don't know the people involved. True. But when you are in ego and pride, you can't see the lessons of love. You can't, because you are in me space. It's about me space. And when it's about us space, then we don't understand why other people either don't want to deal with us, or they're mirroring back to us that same me space. They'll be like this with us, and we're like, well, what are you doing? But we're in the me space. You understand? You're not caring about what's going on with them because you're sitting up so much where you can't be hurt either. Baby, I've been there, especially at work. Especially when I know more than the people that I'm working around. And I'm trying to help them with something and keep us in compliance, and then they don't want to listen. Oh, I can't tell you how many times I've gone into that pride space and I get on those emails and I am so professional, but I'm breaking you down because I'm breaking you down before you break me down. And it's not a matter of that. And I had to catch that in within myself and then see what was being mirrored back to me. Okay. One of the reasons why you deal with the 7 deadly sins is because all of that is mirrored back to you, and it ends up being a loop because you keep it going. Someone has to stop it. Someone has to stop that loop. Okay. So a little bit of pride is okay. That's value in yourself. But when it starts to get out of control and out of balance, right? That's when it's an issue. You can't see the acts of love being given to you. And you're giving with the aspect of ego. You're loving through the eyes of ego. I better return back. He better get me this. I better have nice stuff waiting for me at home. Baby, that's not value. That's a gift, yes. But that's not value. That's pride. That's I can brag about this. That's pride. That's ego. In ego, you only see and acknowledge yourself as the most important. It is about all of us. When I teach self-love, you love yourself to find spirit, to understand it's about love for us all, to move toward compassion. That's why I teach self-love. I teach self-love so that you can even understand spirit in the first place, to see what spirit is trying to do and work through you, for you to get an understanding of spirit, for you to know that you are the I am. You can't get that you're I am looking at something that you don't understand outside of you, when it is you. You did? And then you have all these other people telling you what you need to do, what you need to follow, what you need to believe. Where are you in that belief? Where are you in those lessons? I'm hearing other people. Baby, let me tell you something. I have spent my whole life darn near being ruined from a religion, or different ones, so controlled that it instills control, because what it does is it instills fear. And then that fear of what doesn't exist at the time sits in you so heavy you can't move. But they do that on purpose to curb your behavior. No, if you can't make changes in love and you got to use fear, now sometimes fear is needed, like when fear does a parent and you're trying to keep them safe, right? I get that. But when you instill a fear where a person cannot think for themselves, cannot move in love for themselves or other people in a healthy way, there's a problem. Okay? Any psychologist would tell you, if someone was abusing you, you need to leave the person alone. If they don't tell you that, I'm questioning that psychologist. or that therapist. Okay? So, I've seen it too many times where that guilt and that fear ruins a person from moving forward. And then they're sitting up there in fear of something they don't even understand or know, and don't even understand why they're loving it in the first place. It's just fear. No, nothing wants you to follow it because of fear. It wants honest love from you. You can't get that from being told what to do. You get that from finding it within you. Okay? So, ego and pride out of balance leads to narcissism and arrogance. You shut everyone else out. When there's a problem, it is always about what happens to you. It is always about everyone else is against you. Everyone is out to get you. All of that. Okay? The other side of pride and ego is humility and gratitude. Why? Why do I need to know that? Here's why. A lot of you want to manifest things in your life, right? And you're trying to get to your higher self, whether just to manifest or to have peace. But you can't bring into you if you don't have gratitude. You can't bring into you. You have to be grateful for what you already have. And yes, and I'm going to say this because I understand, that includes the fucked up lessons in your life, because they're love lessons, they're karma lessons, they're consequence lessons, they're law of flow lessons. There's so many you can't keep up with. I get it. I know. But you have to love those too, because you're trying to love your journey of why you're here and what you're here to learn. So you have to have gratitude to manifest. You have to. Otherwise, if you're sitting up in pride and ego, you're manifesting surface things. Now, on this plane, and who rules this plane, okay, that may be fine and dandy. But what lesson did you learn? When it's time to review yourself, what lesson did you actually learn that was of value or worth to anybody? Because it's not just about you. It's about learning you, that you're a love being, that you're I am to share with everyone else. So what did you do to serve or lead to help others? You understand what I'm saying? So when you sit in pride and ego, you actually sit in a mental prison of punishment. Again, that is a mental prison of you. And then you can't understand, as I say again, why people don't want anything to do with you. Because you made it about you. No one wants... Okay. Who's going to go to a coach to help them thrive? And the program is all about them and the money they make. You ain't going to go to that person. Right? Who's going to go on a sports team and it's all about one person? The coach. Been there, done that. I've seen that. Not for me. I've seen it for other children and my children. And it's all about that coach looking good and they're blaming the kids. But they're little kids. Who looks bad? But that person is in so much ego and pride, they can't even understand. It makes them look bad. Because they made it about them. They mirrored it onto them. And then they mirrored it out to other people. So, Divine, why do we... What is so the big deal about this deadly sin? Easy. Okay. Pride and ego is what created Satan. Because Satan wouldn't play a chord for God. He was the angel of music. He was number 2. Satan wouldn't exist if the use of pride and ego wasn't there. It wouldn't exist. Not the way we know it. And then made the angel of punishment instead of the angel of music. So, what ego and pride does, it leads you to your shadow place, but it keeps you there by yourself. And you end up where people don't even want to deal with you, and you're lonely and you're there by yourself. Okay. Again, it is a prison by yourself that you see mirrored out But you so much in pride and ego, you can't even see it mirrored out because you're constantly seeing it as a tax on you. When you sit in humility and gratitude, you sit in the place of peace and love to understand I don't need to be angry. I don't need to be fighting people. I need to be sharing and experiencing with people. I'm so grateful for these experiences because guess what? Then you're not blind to this is happening to me. Everyone's against me. No. Now you get to see through the eyes of love your lessons, and you get to make connections of your lessons to get over them. That is why you don't want this sin. You don't want to be alienated. You don't want to be in a scope of me. You understand? You have a prime example of what happened with me. Something got created into this world that was not supposed to be. That's me. Instead of us in love. So, think about it though. If what we call God, or people call God, right, actually changed an angel good to bad with its ego, I want you to think about this. And you see, supposedly, if you know it very well, but a lot of y'all know, how bad it is, which it ain't, but that's a story for another time. Do you see the result? So let me explain. Let me explain a little clearer. You have a God, right, who wanted something done in ego and was cast down out of ego, where it hurt that angel so much it hated the thing it loved the most. And now we got this duality today. If you want to go by that story, we got this duality internally today. We are made in God's image, right? That means we are made with ego and selfishness, because it tells you straight up it's selfish, and you can see its ego. So if you don't understand the gravity from that alone of what pride and ego can do, I can't help you. That's a pretty big example. That's a pretty big example that affects us today. That's how big it is. You don't want none of ego and pride. Healthy amount. But remember, I was saying before, the self doesn't exist. Your spirit exists. The self, let's talk about that a little bit. The self is a construct of quantification, of being able to classify something to explain it, because mankind has to explain stuff all the time. It has to be categorical, it has to be explainable, or if it's not explainable, it doesn't exist. Bullshit. Everything exists in this universe, in this realm, in the most, everything exists. Everything is allowed to. Everything has to, because everything has an opposite. So self doesn't exist, but in psychology we use ego, in Freudian's terms, to explain self. No. Ego is your convoluted, inflated opinion about you being better than others. That's what I mean. But yourself doesn't exist. You are energy. Energy in many forms, from DNA to electromagnetic fields to aura field. Man, you don't understand how many levels of energy you are. And then when you feel emotions, they rise and fall. Saying that you don't need emotions is a lie. Yes, you do. It was in the Book of Thomas before they took it out. You need emotions to manifest. You need love to manifest. You need gratitude, because when you have that gratitude feeling, you feel the overwhelming sensation of love. You don't want to sit in that hell space. Pride and ego is a hell space. Your energy. You can at any time manipulate your energy fields, and that's how people influence you, because they understand how energy fields work in people, and they manipulate your emotions, they manipulate your thoughts, they manipulate all the things that change your vibrations and your manifestation ability. Okay? That's why you got to keep yourself energetically guarded. That's why you got to put your bubble up, because no one has right to access your energy unless you allow them to. So, again, when we're looking at ego, okay, I don't use ego and self synonymous. I really try not to. And I have the term kill the ego. Not the self, not you. Okay. Kill the ego, meaning it's not necessary. And it's not necessary. Value is necessary in oneself. That's necessary. Value in other people is necessary, because we all have levels in which we operate, right? But pride in excess, ego in excess, no. That does not serve a purpose. Okay? So the next time you're walking around and you huffed up like a peacock, or you huffed up like a rooster, okay? What is that saying? Taller you are, the higher you are, or the taller you are, the harder the fall. Keep that in mind when you walk around in ego. Keep that in mind when you think that other people, that you're better than other people, and that you're so special, and that you deserve more than other folks. What did you do? That's what Spirit's gonna ask you. What did you do to think that? What have you contributed? And even if you did you remember your soul contract of what you were going to do to be here to do that? So what makes you think you deserve more than somebody else? Why? Because God knows ego. It knows what it did in ego. So that is why if you ever walk around in ego and you have embarrassing moments constantly, or you have someone shutting you down, or you have people in your face bringing you down real quick, that is because that is one of the sins that Spirit shuts down so quick because of its own actions with it. And we don't need that kind of problem again, do we? We see it happening out there all the time. All right, my loves. So, we're going to continue this with another one. But I wanted you to understand, ego and pride stops you from seeing with the eyes of love. Use the eyes of love, because you are the I am. You are a part of source. You are an infinite being of energy, of light and dark. You are to balance your duality. You are to fulfill your soul contracts here. And you are to love everyone, and everyone is to love you, because you are worthy of it, and that's the only thing that saves us all. All right, my loves. It's been my pleasure to speak with you again. Yes, I will make the next video. Hopefully tomorrow. I will post it. But I'm so happy to be here with you, and I'm so happy when I get a chance to be in front of you and talk with you and share with you, and share my personal experiences with you. I always say I have been through hell and back to be able to teach others and pay it forward. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to pay it forward. So people don't walk through what we had to walk through. It is their choice, whether they learn it or not, right? But it is our job to teach others our perception and our perspective so they don't have to. All right, my loves, I love you. And you take care. Be that change. Be love, and know without a doubt you are.